Nina, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Lynch?
Here.
Member Collins?
Here.
Member Lewis?
Here.
Member Young Johnson?
Here.
Member Williams?
We have the approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of the October 24th meeting.
I second.
We have motion and a second to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion, any changes? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unfinished business, we have the City of Portage Employment Manual. Deb, I don't know if you want to talk about that. Attorney Witten,
I will defer to Councilwoman Podgorski. She's worked on this.
she has worked faithfully and long and hard on this manual. So, thank you so much, Deb, for all the work that you put in on that.
No problem. So obviously, the manual hasn't been updated in a multitude of years, so we got approval to bring Lexipol on board, not only for the city, but for the police department. So the police department has been working on their own, and I've worked on the cities. Employment manuals are always going to be a work in progress, as they should be. So as things change, you will want to refer to that and make updated changes. Having Lexipol gives us that opportunity to get the, especially federal and state laws, right on time, so we can make those changes automatically as something new happens, if something changes in the collective bargaining agreement, ordinances, it should all be reflected in your employment manual. And we, between myself and working with Lexipol, I think we have it in a pretty good place that we can bring it forward and get it on, in everybody's hands. So I don't know what other questions you might have.
I know we've gone through several reviews of this.
We have.
With the department heads, with the city attorney, with you. I know we've got several employee manuals that we are struggling with right now that are old,
Right.
like 09, 15,
Yeah.
19.
Yeah, some of the departments, I don't know how it was done years ago, but some of the departments seem to have their own version, and then another place would have its own version. There's no reason for that. You can defer your, we have all kinds of disclaimers in here that if you have a collective bargaining agreement, you're going to refer to that collective bargaining agreement up front. Everything else flows for, all the rest of the employees.
And I believe the CARES Act paid, was it the CARES Act, Nina, that paid for the?
It was our.
Yeah, originally.
And we have 2
We
years.
have a new invoice now for it.
Right.
And we have we have 2 updates that we paid for? Didn't we?
It's
put
a
money
year-
aside?
Paid for it one time with ARPA funds.
Right.
And then we just received another
Yearly.
invoice about a week ago.
Yeah, then you'll get a yearly invoice.
Okay.
I don't know what the yearly invoice is for, though. It's like $11,000.
That's for them to make sure that it's updated via federal, state. If you want to change something, how it's distributed, they'll help us with that as well.
Yeah, so a lot of cities, I don't know, you guys can address this particular to this city, but a lot of cities and towns, some that I've actually represented, have gone to a place like Lexipol, mainly because part of what they do is that as things change, as labor laws change, as state statutes change, they will update the manual for all of their clients as part of that service.
Right. And it's what they do.
So
They
yeah,
deal with municipalities.
That's that. I mean, they're pricey, there's no question, but it's good to have your manuals looked at like that. And since they represent a lot of groups, they're not the only gang in town, but they're probably one of the biggest. They're able to sort of mass produce changes for their clients. The other thing is that should you proceed with this manual, just so the employees are aware, as I indicated before, it specifically addresses if there's any conflict with the collective bargaining agreements, the CBAs will
I guess my concern is, I don't see the problem, and I would want to ask that we do this. We have the information, it's good information. I've read through it as much as you can read something like this. But I think we actually need to let the next administration and next council review this and see if it fits with their plan. I know when we came on board 4 years ago, the previous Board of Works pushed the IT contract and let the next group look at it. And that was us. But I've gone through this. It doesn't, I'm curious to how many people it really, I mean, it affects everybody, but then the collective bargaining agreement overrides it. So how many people don't have collective bargaining agreements?
So the clerk staff, administrative staff, I mean, I don't know offhand.
And that's kind of what I'm saying is, it affects a small group of people, and I think they probably think it affects them a lot. I don't know if it was reviewed with anybody. I know they're probably going to have some questions, but my personal opinion is I think the new people coming in should have the opportunity to look at this and pass it if it fits their plan.
So a little bit of a difference between the contract that you referenced from the prior administration. We were in a situation where they contractually bound the city, and I had to work to unwind that. That's not what's being asked of this board today. What's being asked of this board today is to update the manual. To your concerns, which are odd,
Excuse me, is that your legal opinion?
no, that's my personal opinion. I'm always.
I think you're here for legal advice,
No,
sir.
I'm here for my personal opinion as well, Jamie, so let's let me finish up there. So-
Go right ahead.
Thank you, appreciate that. So, to address your concerns, I guess what I'm saying is, it's an odd, so this is my legal opinion, thank you. It's an odd reference to a contract, because that's not really what we're doing here. To address your concerns, the new administration should look at this. I think you're right about that, they should. And they can make changes. It's not a contractually bound thing. It's a work in progress. So really, the point is, what Deb is telling you is a work in progress. We need, really, it's a codification of our existing standards, ordinances, and updating to be consistent with the law. So
And that could be done in 2 months.
It could be, and it should be. The new administration should look at it, absolutely. So, and they can make changes.
Well, and I kind of disagree here because I came on the council and there was no actual employee manual. They were messing around with 3 of them. And then there was an attempt to update these over the years and nothing ever happened. And so there have been situations that we've gotten ourselves into where an employee had a manual and then somebody else had another manual, and that the rules were inconsistent. So this Lexipol manual is an attempt to bring everything together under one roof so that employees have consistency with their manual. I want to say that this manual, we will have some printed out, but it will also be online for all the employees.
So I guess, and to Jamie, to your point, I guess what I was thinking was, and maybe this is my legal opinion too, but was that Deb's done all this work on it, we've met with the department heads, gone to all that stuff, put it together based on that. It's not really necessarily a game changer, it's more of just bringing it all together. Keep in mind that we've got a sanitary department that's using 2 different manuals, it's an odd thing going on. In my opinion, it's a good base for the new administration to work with and improve upon.
So if it's not a game changer, what's the hurry?
What's the problem?
I think so you put this in, they want to change something. They got to go through that whole process. I'm not saying they will find anything. I just think, you know what I think? I think you think it's odd. I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm just saying, I thought, in my opinion,
What did you just say to me? What did you just say to me?
I think we can go back and get the video. I said, you think it's odd. Did you not say you thought I was odd? My
Okay,
opinion was
we're
odd?
done having a discussion on this.
I make a motion that we table the personnel manual until new administration takes over.
What exactly is the board being asked to do with this manual today?
Jamie wants to, council, or Member Lewis wants to table it. He's expressed his concerns. And to be clear, Member Lewis, I wasn't saying you were odd. I was saying it was an odd reference to a contract. It's different. Okay. So if you took it to me that I said you were odd, please accept my apologies. That was not my intention. We're good. All right.
I did have a question. Whether we approve to adopt this manual or not, we still have an invoice to pay the bill?
You would-
That's a separate thing.
We still have to pay Lexipol for their
Right,
services.
right.
Yes.
They haven't done anything this year.
Oh yeah, because I have meetings with them, so they will help me, they will give their opinion. It's a part of their service.
I will say that the only manual that's been actually codified with municipal code is the 01 by ordinance,
Which is,
adopted by the council.
right,
But that was the 01, which actually has a full policy procedure and personnel manual. But that was under Doug.
So my
I think
thought is,
Yeah.
guys, here-
God, look how old that
is. There's no harm either way. You have two schools of thought here, if I may be so bold. The one thought is let the new administration start over from scratch and go from there. Or take what the work that you've done and adopt it. You've got a school of thought. We put all this work into it. We're going to codify what's in existence and clarifying ambiguities between different policies
Right.
that are out there.
right,
You can go either way.
right. To me, it's a lot easier to take what you have and adjust intermittently if that's what the plan would be in the future, as opposed to chuck it and go back and start over again. Now
I'm not suggesting they start
that
over.
just seems like working harder and not smarter.
Well, you know, and it's amazing to me that we have struggled with this ever since I've been on the council. Here is an attempt, and it was something we were committed to getting done for the employees. We have one uniform employee manual. I have never worked anywhere where they have been without an employee manual.
Right.
And so, I mean, I think our sincere effort in doing this and the hours and hours that Deb has put in on this. And again, Deb is saying, Lexipol, this is flexible. It can always be amended. Look, there was no COVID at one time. Employee manuals all over the country had to be adopted because of COVID. So, I mean, that doesn't mean that this is set in concrete. It means that we are making an attempt to have all employees under the same manual.
Right.
Does sanitary and storm need to address this then?
Yes, they will.
I thought I made a motion.
The motion dies for a lack of second. Do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the employee manual for 2023.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Which I think we've had plenty. All in favor, Nina, would you please do a roll call vote?
Mayor Lynch?
Yes.
Member Collins?
Yes.
Member Lewis?
No.
Member Young Johnson?
Yes.
Thank you, Deb, again, for your hard work and your dedication and commitment to getting this manual done. Okay,
hope
moving on
everybody
to
read
new
it.
business. We have a special request. We have the Salvation Army Kettle Tower. Captain Pritchard, it's good to see you today.
Here or there. Good morning. It's that time of year already. You'll see the kettles are already out ringing the bell ringers are out. So I'm here to request that we put up the tower like we did last year next to the Christmas tree between the police department and fire station there. I thought it went very well with the last year, so I'm here to request that we do that again this year. We're hoping to be able to put it up on Monday if that's possible, so.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Salvation Army Kettle Tower.
I second.
We have motion and a second to approve the Salvation Army Kettle Tower. Is there any further discussion, any questions for Captain? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I love your kettle.
Thank you, yes.
Okay, we have the Kiwanis Christmas Parade.
I got drafted to do the talking. I don't know why I'm a very quiet person. Yes, this year, as we did last year, planning on having a Christmas event. It'll be the first weekend in December, December 2nd. So we plan on doing a Christmas parade down Central Avenue, ending at the square where between the police and fire station, do the Christmas tree lighting. We have some other events too. There's going to be some treats there, and they're going to be serving some different little small foods and drinks, and so it should be a fun time.
Randy, do you know how many years we've been doing this?
Well, this will be the second year since the restart.
I'll make a motion we approve the Kiwanis Christmas Parade.
A second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Randy, do you need floats? Are you still looking for
Yes,
more
they are.
participation?
Yes.
If you want to say now, because we are on live feed, so it might help.
Right, yeah, so, anybody that wants to do a float, all they ask, it's gonna be a twilight parade, so, they want the floats to be lit up, in the organization. They can contact a Kiwanis member, or they could call the fire station office, because our, one of our administrative assistants, Renee, is also on Kiwanis, so she would be more than happy to take your application.
Can we give this number out that's on this application?
Yes,
That number is 219-762-7404.
that
If
is
you're
the
interested in-
fire station that's the fire administration, so that's our number.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Good luck, Randy.
Thanks.
Okay, we have the All Music Project with Benjamin Leonard White. Hi, Ben.
Good morning. This morning I'm here with the All Music Project. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We're looking to plan our third annual concert in Founders Square in August on the 25th of 2024. It'll be at 4 p.m. Our program has grown over the last year even. So now we will be splitting off and doing a classical concert in August, full orchestra symphonic classical. We'll be doing like a lighter concert at the beginning of summer. And then we're also now sponsoring a brass quintet Christmas concert, which we'll be seeing this December out at Hobart. So our program's been showing some great growth. I think last year we had about 200 people in attendance, completely free to the community. And Founders Square is a beautiful venue for us to showcase this to our community.
I'm just curious, is there a particular group of musicians or orchestra that you use?
So that's part of our gig. All of our board are musicians, local musicians. So we're kind of musician-run as an orchestra. So I conducted last year. We're looking at branching out and sharing the conducting. So it's not necessarily, we are the group, but we're also a flexible group. So for example, many of our members this December out at Hobart are in this brass quintet. So you're not necessarily seeing the same exact group every time, and that helps us with the flexibility of offering these programs free to our communities.
Thank you.
Are you accepting new musicians into your group, Ben?
Yes, because now with so many programs, we need it. So this August concert is a little bit more laborious to put on with rehearsals. Our beginning of summer, it should be lighter, easier things. So if anyone is interested in volunteering, they can check out allmusicproject.org and get in touch with us there. And we're always looking for new groups and new ways to sponsor arts in our community.
I've been to both of your concerts at Founders, and it's really awesome. So it is growing.
Thank you.
It grew from the first year, so I'm hoping it will continue.
Yes.
It's a great thing for our city.
I make a motion to approve the All Music Project scheduled for August 25th, 2024.
I'll second the motion.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Ben. Thanks for your participation. Okay, we have the flock safety quote.
Morning. I'll give you guys just the quick history of the system here real quick before I throw the numbers at you. So first of all, the flock cameras, basically they're license plate readers. They're already in the city in various areas. They do not do tickets. They're not for the purpose of speeding tickets, traffic light tickets, anything like that. These are basically used for if there's a crime and we have partial information on a vehicle, we can determine, where it's gone through. For instance, if we had a bank robbery, a red car left, red four-door, we know it went south on Willow Creek. Prior to these cameras, that's all we would have. Now we can run the time frame, figure out the red cars that went through, get a license plate, and start the investigation back through there. So crazy valuable for us on an investigative side. So a couple years ago, the Sheriff's Department purchased the cameras and put them in the unincorporated areas and actually put ours into the city of Portage. There might have been a couple other places, but we kind of, we had the benefit of the Sheriff's Department being willing to take on that cost and put them in our city at that time. Once Sheriff Ballin took over, he realized the exorbitant cost of having cameras throughout the county, and he has asked if we were able to take over our portion of it. In the interim, or in the meantime, Valpo's added their own cameras, Chesterton's got cameras, so pretty much the whole county has them now. But what basically the sheriff is asking is that the municipalities that have them will take on the costs of them. So far, since we've had them, like I said, we've had a bank robbery that we were able to solve. We had a drive-by shooting, home invasion, some burglaries. I couldn't tell you how many stolen cars we've recovered, warrants. I mean, it's an incredible investigative tool. And although some people are probably concerned about it, it's not something where we're just on there, like I said, looking for speed. It doesn't even have a radar on it, so there's none of that. It is purely for investigative purposes, and some of these major crimes that we would have had a much harder time solving before, it's an incredible tool. So, meeting with Flock in order to take over the cameras that are in our city, the 22 cameras that are in our city, they're $3,000 a camera. However, if we sign a 5-year deal, it would be $2,500 a camera. So if we wanted to make a 5-year commitment, that would save us $55,000 over that time period. So met with the budget committee over the fall and worked at least the 1-year dollar amount into our budget for next year. So I guess the decision is whether or not we want to continue with this, and then if we're able to go the 5 years to save that $55,000. So that was kind of a lot. So if something didn't make sense there, feel free to ask me.
I mean, there's no way you can really put a value on how much these have saved us in investigative time, right?
Ted or Scott, you guys were both detectives. If you want to speak on it, probably be.
So, can you hear me? Yeah. So I can speak to a particular homicide investigation that I did as a detective, and what we did in that particular case was we tried to track the perpetrator from their home by using, because we knew when they left their home, and I don't want to give up too much, but we knew when they left their home. And we were able to track that person to the homicide scene and back. Now, we didn't have flock then. This is going back a few years. So what we did as detectives was we guessed which route they would have taken, and we went to every business along that route, banks and everybody, tried to get their security video. Many of them made a subpoena, so that is countless man hours. So hundreds and hundreds of hours, much of this at time and a half. So if you're thinking with a financial mind, please take that into your consideration.
That's kind of exactly what I'm getting at. I'm thinking of like a Atom Alert or something like that. That's priceless. So.
Yeah, and so even if you want to, I think the AC did a good job of trying to attach a dollar amount to it, but even going beyond that, so I can tell you, we had, like I said, we had a drive-by shooting, it might have been a year and a half or 2 years now. It was right after we got Flock, and basically all we had was a white car and a description. The two didn't know each other. It involved some road rage. I honestly don't know if we would have ever solved that crime unless, somebody had said something to somebody. That crime, that was probably one of the first big ones we had. We had a vehicle description, we had the route where the road rage started, and we were able to solve that and charge the individuals. So again, there's a dollar amount there, but that's a crime that would probably still be an open case. The bank robbery we had, I guess it all starts to run together here, but maybe 6 months ago, very key in that to once we had a vehicle description, being able to track the route for that. So that's a combination of probably being able to solve it and saving the man hours. We might have got there, but, and then, we've had some of these crimes where it's from out of state. People, if you're going to commit a crime, you come from somewhere else where nobody's going to recognize you. We can post Facebook pictures all day, and if they don't live in our community, but this is an opportunity where, hey, they got on the toll road, or they got on, and it's, again, so the dollar amount is huge for the staffing hours and things that we're using, but then some of these crimes that just would probably not even be solved, or would still be open, waiting for a break in them. So, you talk to anybody that's been in law enforcement in the last couple, or been around for a while, they would say this is one of the biggest technological breakthroughs that we've seen in some years. So.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with the flock safety.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's a great thing, Chief.
Thank you,
We're lucky to
appreciate
have it. We have change order number 5 for 2023 street paving.
Good morning. So what we have in front of you is change order number 5 for our 2023 street paving and repair project. It is in the amount of $3,350. It is for an emergency curb replacement on Willow Creek Road. When our contractor was out there milling, preparing to resurface, we came across a storm inlet that needed some repairs around it. Therefore, they had to remove the curb to get at and adjust the curb inlet, and somebody had to come in and replace the curb. So that's what this is for.
I'll make a motion, we move forward on change order in the amount of $33.50.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have pay app, pay app number 1 for 2023 paving Phase 2.
In front of you is the pay app for Phase 2 of our paving project this year. It is for a total of $751,638.38. This was for the milling and resurfacing of Willow Creek Road, Veterans Avenue, POW MIA, Central Avenue, and Evergreen Avenue.
I'm sorry, so this is pay app number one,
Correct.
in the amount of the 751?
Yes, it was for all the asphalt and milling work.
I'll make a motion, we approve pay app number one in the amount of $751,638.38.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have change order number 1 for 2023 paving Phase 2.
This is a change order for the Phase 2 paving project. It is an increase of $35,036.25. The reason for this change order increase was we extended the limits of our milling and resurfacing work on Veterans Avenue, and also we added POW MIA. When we got out there, we realized that they were in bad shape. We couldn't just leave them, so we had to extend the project a little bit.
And I might say they are so much nicer.
They are, aren't they?
Seriously, I have been complaining about that for a long time. It's really nice.
Yes, it's nice to have them done.
I make a motion to approve the change order number 1, 2023 paving in the amount of $35,036.25.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Sandy. I think we have, we can flip that if you want. Do you want to move on? Do you have any other change orders? I don't see any on my list.
No, but we can, I'll answer questions for the streetlight agreement.
Okay. So we will move on to the streetlight agreement with Lennar.
These are typical streetlights that are going into the Preston Trails subdivision. It's a subdivision being built south of Coles off of Airport Road. We are proposing that they install 12 city-owned, maintained streetlights. My apologies, they're not city-owned. They are actually going to be NIPSCO poles, but we require developers to pay the first 2 years of rental on those.
And then after the first 2 years?
After the first 2 years, it's all on the city of Portage.
And that's kind of a standard thing.
It is standard for all of our subdivisions.
I make a motion to approve the streetlight agreement.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We have permission to seek bids for the 2024 street paving and repair of Phase 1.
Yeah, it might seem a little early, but the reason why we want to move forward on this is we just received community crossing matching grants in the amount of $52,000. We applied for our remainder of the 2023 funds to resurface Oakwood and Belmont, just off of Mulberry Avenue. This project has to be under contract by March 3rd, otherwise we forfeit those funds. So we just want to get the ball rolling and get these bid out.
I'll make a motion that we seek permission, or allow them to seek permission for bids on the 2024 street paving to claim the grants.
A second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have the Abbenmarsh contract renewal.
This is actually a new contract. It is for design services to install sidewalks down Central Avenue between Scott Street and Samuelson Road. The design will also include reconfiguring that intersection at Central and Samuelson to get the trail crossings at the controlled intersection where there are stop signs to make it a more safe for pedestrians and bicyclists to actually cross at a stop sign rather than mid-block.
Would you say those crossroads again, Samuelson and?
Samuelson and Central. So it's for sidewalks down Central Avenue from Scott to Samuelson, and then to reconfigure that intersection of Central and Samuelson to get the trail crossings at the intersection. Correct, at two locations. We're gonna take them right at the intersection where the cars are already stopped. So this is just design on that.
Okay, that sounds, I live over there and I often, I'm like,
Yeah.
how can you safely get around?
It's amazing people have been for years, but yeah, we would wanna
Yeah.
make it a little easier for everybody.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion, we approve the contract with March in the amount of $42,500 to fix the trail crossings at Samuelson and Central.
A second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you, Sandy. We have a code violation appeal at Route 6. Is anybody?
I'm gonna suggest we table it then, because there's nobody here to speak on it.
I'll make a motion that we table the code violation appeal for Route 6 Development LLC.
A second.
We have motion and a second to table. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have bulk item appeals, 2703 Bear Paw.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, before you right now is 2703 Bear Paw. He did come this morning, Mr. Hawthorne, and I did speak with him just on this small $25 bulk item fee, with the understanding that going forward, if he brings us bulk items down to the street department, the first one's for free. All ones after that within the calendar month are $25. So I'm asking for the board to consider his appeal and possibly reverse this.
I'll make a motion, we allow the appeal from Bear Paw Drive.
I second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The next one on the agenda is 2961 Carroll Street. This was a, kind of like a weird situation. The resident claimed that this chair that was set out for bulk item week was out there for 3 weeks. I've got no other documentation referring that, but I'm just going to go above it, believe the resident that this was a mix-up, and I'm asking the board to consider reversing this $25 bulk item charge for 2961 Carroll Street. We did speak with the resident saying, hey, if you have bulk items at the curb, you have to contact the Portage Street or the sanitation department to indicate to us that there is something out there at the curb, so.
I'll make a motion, we grant the appeal for $25 to 2961 Carroll Street.
I second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 2845 May.
Yes, this was a, literally a house clean out. We did go out there and measure the pile. It did have a footprint of 21 feet by 15 feet. It was very considerable size. Anything over 40 square feet, even placed out on Amnesty Day, does incur a cost. So this one was a $300 charge. I told him that the Board of Works would be meeting today, and I don't think he is here to dispute, even though he did fill out the form. So I'm asking the board to uphold the $300 charge at 2845 May Street.
If you saw a picture of this, I will just say, I think we carry through with the charge for this one. It's huge.
I make a motion to uphold the $300 charge on 2845 May.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to uphold the appeal. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Randy. We have claim. Claims in the amount of $1,712,660.74.
I'll make a motion, we approve the claims in the amount of $1,712,660.74.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have major illness claims, Attorney Whitten.
Yes, Madam Mayor, there are 5 that I've signed off on, and I would ask the board to approve those.
I make a motion to approve the 5 major illness claims.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We have another item on the agenda that didn't get put on. I had requested it, but somehow kind of fell through the cracks. Chuck, do you want to come up and speak, please? And
Good morning. For those that don't know me, I'm Chuck Lisco. I've been with the city for about 30 years. I spent like 2.5 years on the street department, and the rest have been on the fire department. And I also was in the Army Reserve for 30 years and with 3 deployments to Iraq. And the reason I'm here today, basically, I spoke with Ted Uselak, and they have a couple old Hummers that are basically not repairable, or they don't intend on repairing them. I was looking to try to possibly acquire them for scrap or whatever, due to my background of being in maintenance for 30 years in the military as a form of therapy, if you will. I'm also in the BFW and the American Legion. I was looking to try and eventually restore one of them and using them in parades and that to support both of the entities. And so whether I have to pay scrap for them or whatever you guys come up with, I was looking to try to acquire them.
So these are vehicles that haven't been used for years, right?
Correct. One of them hasn't been used in approximately 20 years, and the other one, like 3 years, 4 years, I believe. They acquired them as government surplus.
Sorry, Assistant Chief, you?
I can contribute a little bit, and we have robbed about as many parts from those vehicles as we can, so even a scrap price, I don't know what that would be, because we have taken so many different parts off these to keep the ones we have running. We haven't used them for years. Chief Williams, I mean, Candiano. It's gone, I go back and forth with the Duralsac thing, just a joke.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, he and I talked about it, and we have no opposition to that.
I mean, Dan, do we have to charge a scrap fee? I mean, can we just donate these? I mean, how's that work?
We can, but I'm gonna wanna get some paperwork on its value, so is there any,
We have no way to value it because
so why don't we make a penny? Yeah, why don't we make whatever we do contingent on my review of the process? Because I wasn't ready to go through this, it's a little bit of a process, but with scrap, it
Can I add to what you said, just for a moment? I don't know if the street department has the ability to weigh it, but there's a scrap value, that's how a lot of these people do it. Maybe if we can get a weight in a sec, because we have taken a lot of parts off of this, you can't like just look up the weight of the vehicle. But maybe if we can get a weight of that, of what he's asking for weighs, and then Attorney Whitney can look at whatever scrap values are and come up with a number that
And I'll deep dive it. I mean, the streamline for cities disposing of personal property is if it's another city, if it's a not-for-profit, those sorts of things are just as easy, here it is. There's a little bit of a different process for other types of transfer. Let me just take a deeper dive. I think it can be done, and I think it's not a bad idea since they apparently have zero value. But let me dig in a little bit deeper into that, so.
I appreciate it. I just want to do the right thing here, as far as to acquire them, so.
I'll make a motion that we approve transferring the Humvees in whatever condition and whatever manner we can, contingent upon review by Dan.
And I think that's sufficient, and you're right to come here, because this is the board that
Right.
can do it, so
I appreciate it.
it's a good stop.
All right, thank you.
So I know Chuck has been working with us on this for quite a while, so I'd like to see that move along for him so he could begin his project.
Thank you.
I'll get on it like a shark.
Thank you, Shark Dan.
And thank you for
Thank
your
you.
service.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, Chuck, thanks for all you do for the city, too. Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there any other business to come before this board at this time? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.